Thought we would introduce ourselves. Oh, yes. Thank you for remembering to record. We thought we'd start just by quickly introducing ourselves because it's been a while since you might have seen some of our faces, mine in particular. I know Gina gets on Essential Families often, but I don't. So, Gina, go for it.
Okay, there was a delay a little bit on you, Emily, like on for me at least. You were like skipping, your voice was skipping a little bit, but I don't know. Hopefully we'll be all good moving forward. Okay, I'm Gina Lichtenberger, and I'm so glad to see all of you on here. I'm so glad that we are reconnecting and that we're talking about business. I've been feeling really super energized lately, and I'm excited about this. So Emily and I started Essential Families in 2013. Technically, the November of 2013 was the first class that we taught. And I think pretty soon after that, we named our little group Essential Families and put the Facebook groups together and started all of this community. And it has been amazing. It's been an amazing 10 years. It's crazy. So we love Young Living. We're still in it for the long haul forever. You can count on us. You can trust us. We're here to support you guys in every single way. Anything that you need, both of us are here for you all the time. And a lot of you probably know this because I recognize most of you on this call, but I live in Oklahoma. I have 5 kids. My oldest is 20, my youngest is 8. So I got a big spread. And what else? I got into essential oils because I had like major health issues. I had an autoimmune disorder that I was fighting, and Young Living ended up being a huge piece to that puzzle that I was trying to figure out after I changed my diet, and the rest is history. I'll never look back. It's completely changed my life and my family's lives, and everyone in my family, we're healthier than we've ever been. And so we're in it to win it. Take it over, Em.
Hi, I'm Emily Anderson, and I live in Kansas. Currently I'm in Florida though, and I'm in Seaside with my husband. We're on a mini vacation. We have 6 kids, ages 18 down to 11. And I got started with Young Living 10 years ago, I think this month, or like February 1st, something like that. Because of Gina. So she got me hooked. I thought it was super weird at first and didn't know why she was sharing oils with me, because my kids had been sick for a while, and she was like, you should just try these. So I did and haven't looked back. But yeah, we officially kind of started doing the business side of it all later that year after using the products for a while. For a long while. For Gina, you had been using them for a lot longer, but for me, I used them probably 9, 10, 11 months before we decided to start sharing. Am I still cutting out, or am I okay? Okay. So yeah, I echo what Gina said. It's been a hard couple years, as we all know. And but I know we're here. We're not jumping ship. We plan to be here forever. So like Gina said, if there's anything that you ever need, or that we can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out. We when things like get hard, it can tend to we've seen this over the last few year really. When things get hard, people tend to jump ship because they think it'll be easier elsewhere. And I just don't buy it. And I just know that every business can struggle. Every business has ups and downs. And so if you're willing to stick through it and not leave, stick with Young Living, the products that you love, I really think that it's just, we're on the up and up. So I hope you guys can see that and feel that when you I'm sure you've noticing the changes and everything that's been happening within Young Living. We're at a really good point, I feel like, where we have some incredible leadership in place. our president, Ben Riley. I mean, that was like when they announced him as president, he was with our company a couple years ago and then came back. And when they announced him as president, that was like the first moment that in a while that I felt like, okay, this is good. This is so good. We are headed in the right direction. So anyways, I'm so glad to see y'all on here. And we're just gonna I don't know where everybody is in their business, but for the sake of this being a call that you guys can share with even potential builders later, we're just gonna kind of go over the basics of kind of the business stuff, how you earn money, basically. Things have changed. It's much easier to earn money now than I feel like it has been in the past. So we're just going to kind of walk you through that. And I assume most everybody on here is a brand partner already, but Gina will start talking about our brand partner kit. And if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to type them in the chat, and then we will take care of those at the end, or if it applies right then and there, we can take care of it then. So anyways, holler if you have questions. Like I said, this is just going to kind of be a basic overview of how you can earn money. If you have questions, let us know.
Thank you, Emily. I will just echo what she said about having faith in the company and being so excited that Ben is back. There are so many changes that have happened, and every time there was a new change to the comp plan or a new whatever, it seemed like each thing that was happening was getting more and more complicated, and it got to the point where I even was like, I don't want to learn anymore. Like, my brain can't hold all this information. I have no idea how to explain it. I can't tell you, for over a year, I didn't even mention becoming a brand partner to anyone because I couldn't explain it myself. And I'm just being completely honest in saying that. And not that it wasn't explainable, because there were plenty of people who were still getting brand partners on. I was just in full mental fatigue. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And just so many changes kept happening. But then when the Ben thing happened, I'm like, okay, now I know this is going to be good. And it's been great. And on our end, we went from having a monthly diamond call to, weekly, he updates us about things. And it's just, the excitement is crazy. But we have had this lull for a little while. And so we're trying to get out of that, and we're wanting to help you guys to understand really just how simple everything has gotten again. But I know a lot of you have been gun shy to even learn. They're like, oh, great, another change. I don't want to learn about that. So you think it's going to be more complicated. And really, they just literally cut through all of the red tape or whatever, all of the weirdness, all the things that made it hard, and they made it easy again. So first off, the first thing that you have to do, and you guys, most of you probably know this, but your people need to know this. Anyone just getting started needs to know this. You have to get the business essentials kit. And that is something that you add to your cart. It's $14.95. When they first started, it was more than that. It's now, I think it's $14.95 or $14.99, but less than $20. That's all you need. And basically, they had to do that because Young Living had a lot of accidental business builders. So there were a lot of people who signed up with their premium starter kit, and they started making money. They didn't know why, or they didn't, it looked on paper like Young Living had, 100% of their members were basically, I'm not 100%, but like 95% or something were looking like they were brand partners, but a lot of them weren't making money because they never even intended on being brand partners, and they never shared. So you have to make the intention. The only reason for this is you have to make the intentional decision and let them know, I want to build a business. And that's just an FTC thing. So basically what they get are these really great books. This is the Business Essentials Kit. They get these two things. I know this because my son just got this, and I was going through it again. It's the same one, but it just is great information. It has so many great little worksheets to go through. There's tips and stuff, but there's also asking what's your inspiration, what's your why. It talks about building your community. It gives you lists like to make of potential people that you will reach out to. Everything that you really need to know is in these little books. So that's great. But the best part about it is that it's only $14.95. So you just need to make sure your people do that. And that you have done it or that your people who are wanting to earn money, go ahead and get the Business Essentials Kit. If someone is a customer and they can still sign someone up, even if they're a customer, they can sign someone up. They will not get commission unless they, during that same month, buy the Business Essentials Kit. So they don't have to necessarily have it before they sign someone up, but they have to have it within that same month. So if you're talking to people, hopefully you're in great communication with them and you can let them know, hey, if you're talking to anyone, if you're sharing it all, just pop in there and throw that in your cart and order it, because it's just better to just have it. And then the other thing that I would say after the last couple, I've had 2 new brand partners over the last couple months who were very disappointed because I did not do a great job of explaining to them about what is it called? When you attach your bank, the auto draft. I did not do a great job of explaining to them that they needed to enter all of their information in there, like their bank account, and do all of that before their first commission check hit. And so then it's not a big deal because it shows up as credits on their account. But these particular people really were wanting that physical money. And so it ended up being a little bit hairy. So I will say that's one more step to make sure that you talk to them about is get the Business Essentials Kit, make sure that your bank account and everything is on there. It won't let you. So here's the thing. That's a good point.
No, here's why. It's because you're already classified as a brand partner. So it's one kit per brand partner. But when they made all the changes and everybody was classified as a customer or a brand partner, if you automatically were classified as a brand partner, then they technically in the system thinks you've already gotten your Business Essentials Kit.
And I know we've asked and we're continuing to ask, like, if people want one of these, they should be able to get them. So how old do you have to be to sign up as a brand? You have to be 8. Well, you have to be 16. You have to be 18 or you have to be 16 signed up under your parents. And there's a procedure that you have to go through. So you can be a brand partner at 16, but you're supposed to be, the easiest thing is if you're 18. But yeah, we're trying to get it to where anybody can purchase this, but right now it's just new brand partners. So that is a little bit of a glitch there to remember.
So one more thing about the Business Essentials Kit is, like, I'm so thankful they lowered the price because it was at first $30, but now it's, I think, like Gina said, 15. And it's one of those like things where you could even offer it as like, hey, I'll give you a credit on your account if you want to get the Business Essentials Kit. A $15 credit is not a lot in the long run if they're going to end up being a brand partner for your team. So that is definitely something you can do if they're kind of like, oh, I want to try it, I just don't really have the $15 to spend right now. And thankfully too, $15, if they end up being if it's not like a huge committed, like a thing that you're committing to, you're just getting the kit because it's so easy to share, right? You just can casually share Young Living. And so it's just good to have it. And then is it for a year, Gina? Do you know, like, if they does it last for a year? Or are you brand partner? How does that work?
That's a good question. I think it's a one-time purchase.
Okay. And I think within that year, maybe you have to like sign somebody up or get a paycheck some way, somehow. And then the system registers you, I think, for 12 months or whatever. We'll confirm that. But anyways, how do you apply a credit to someone's account? So that's really simple. You can call customer service and you say, I'd like to apply a $15 credit to Abby's account, and you give them the member number, and then they'll ask you what credit card you want to use. And if you have a business card on file already with Young Living, you just tell them the last 4 digits. And there's really no limit to the amount that you can add. I know we've done, like, when we've done giveaways and stuff, we've done like $100 credits before. So there's really no like amount limit. At least there hasn't been in the past. I don't know if that's changed, but so yeah, you pay for it. It comes out of your credit card. But what I like about credits better than like saying, oh, I'll Venmo you for that $15 is you get that $15 back in like OGV later when they go to use that. So if they're going on to buy something and you've given them a $25 credit, that then becomes OGV for you in the future. Does that make sense? So I like doing credits better than just offering, like I said, Venmo or whatever. So I always try to offer credit first. So moving on, something very basic, but I was talking to somebody this week and I don't think that a lot of people realize there's a couple different ways that you can enroll people now. Obviously we have our starter bundles, and you can also, people can get started with just a lavender chapstick or whatever, a lavender bath bomb package, anything, any product people can get started with now. And they've made it super easy to be able to go in and get your referral link. So we used to have to use yl.pe. I don't know. I think probably people still use it. I noticed it's still active, but that's how we used to get like our direct link to Young Living. Well, now Young Living has a share link. So when you log in, and I believe it's on the right-hand side, with the drop-down menu, you click share YL, and there a page pops up that you can just simply copy and paste your link in, and then that will take somebody just to the Young Living website, and anything that they add to their cart, you will get credit for. Now, if you want to be more specific, you can take, like, if you're trying to get somebody to get Thieves, you can copy and paste the Thieves URL. There's like, it's called a deep link generator, and it's very easy to figure out when you're on that Share YL page. So you can, if somebody's needing Thieves, you can create a direct link to that product. My favorite thing, though, that they've created are wish lists, which is under that right hand or that column. It's another way to share. It's another referral link. You can create wish lists specifically for people. So I was talking with a lady who was dealing with like hair thinning, hair loss. And sorry, my kids are texting me. And so I created a specific cart for her that had products that I thought, would be useful, sent her the link to that. And then she can simply just add the products that she wants to the cart. It's all ready to go, or she can add them all to cart if she wants to do that. But this replaces myYL.com, which a lot of us paid for months. And it's just another way that you can kind of tailor the enrollment process to whoever you're working with. If somebody needs digestion support, you can create a bundle for them that way. So there's so many ways now. It used to be so much harder. You literally had to send somebody the link to Young Living. They had to fill out all their info. They had to make sure that they put your number in both spots. I mean, it's just become so much easier now. And I hear through the grapevine that it's, just going to get easier. So that's good, because it's 2023 and this is how people need things to be quick and easy when they're checking out. So the checkout process has become much easier. But if you don't use the wish list, you need to use them. It's such an easy way to create bundles for people. And when you give them that link, your number's already plugged in when they check out. Like it's been really great. So I have like a whole page of wish lists. And when I do project broadcast classes, which we can talk about later, which is a texting service, at the end of like each little post, I'll say, oh, here's the 3 products I talked about in this, particular post or whatever. So by the end of the night, I have a link on each text that I send with multiple products, and they can click on any of it and it all goes to my account. So super helpful, the wish list. So if you don't know where it is, again, it's in the right-hand column. It's different from Share YL link. It's just called wish list, and you can create your own wish lists for yourself, or create them to share with others. Yeah. Anything else on that, Gina? Did I get that all?
I see that Sue was saying there's a limit. I don't know if there's a limit. I don't think there is though, because like she said, like she has a page of them. I have several. I mean, I have several. I don't know, at least probably 10 or 15 wish lists. And I create them specifically for the things that I commonly share, like the lymph challenge, collagen. I mean, like, you know, I have a hormone one. Like I have a lot of ones that are like, as soon as, and someone said they share them, Mary, I can't remember. Someone said they add all those to their notes. And that's what I do too on my phone. That's a great tip, is to just create these wish lists. And then that in and of itself is a little bit confusing, because it looks like it's just for the wish list on the website, looks like it's just like your wish list, which a lot of people just use it for that. But the cool thing is that there is the share button from the wish list, and that pre-populates the cart that you're going to send it to anyone. So that has been huge. I have used wish lists. I have had more signups in the past year than I had. I mean, it's like the beginning. It's like it was in the beginning for me, because I have been able to be specific. And one thing that Emily said, and I know this is getting on the weeds a little bit, but most of you that are on here, I can tell, I mean, almost all of you are already active business builders. Something that I think is very, very important is whenever you're sharing anything, no matter what it is, share a link with a wish list, or at least a link to be able that pre-populates the cart. Because I was thinking about this towards the end of the year, like with Black Friday and all that, with all the different things that I was getting, the texts that I was getting from different companies. The reason I go to Natural Life, which is where I get tons of like decor and clothes and stuff like that, the reason that I buy so much from them is I literally get 2 texts a week from them, and every one of their texts has a link. Like they'll be like, we think you'll like this outfit or this decor, and they're like, here's a link to it. And because there's a link, they make it so easy. If they were like, we think you'll like this, go to the Natural Life website, and you know, I would be like, I'm out. I wouldn't do it. But I'm like, okay, I'm still learning all these things. Like, why don't we do this when we send texts? Because there are so many times that I send texts and I'm like, I think you would really like to use this diffuser blend. And it just has, you know, all of these, but then I don't put a link. So that's a genius. I'm glad that Emily's already doing that. And we all need to be doing that. Do you guys have any questions about wish lists? Have you guys, or type them in the chat and we can get back to it later. But I know that some people are like, I'm overwhelmed. I was even overwhelmed in the beginning, and I have an assistant, and I would have her, I'd be like, can you go make a wish list for, you know, XYZ? And she'd be like, I can, but I just want you to know it's like the easiest thing possible. So she's like, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but I'd like to see you try it, because you're going to see that it's like so easy. And once I did, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that like it took me less time to create the link than it did for me to text you and ask you to create the link. So they are really making things so easy.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with the wish list and the share YL button, just take 5 minutes of your time and go check it out, because you'll be so glad that you did. And I know that somebody mentioned they save the links in your phone notes. Yeah, that's a great idea. Just keep it handy. I just have each of mine labeled in my wish list bundles, and I have a lot of them. And so I reuse them often. So I just log in and go there, but keeping them in your notes is a great idea too. So, okay, so you share a link and you have somebody sign up. This is where I feel like things have changed the most over the last couple of years, is like, you get this bonus, now you don't, now you get it, now you double it, now you like, it's just been a little chaotic. Well, now you can get just incredible pay the first month. I want to say it's one of the highest MLM like first month pay structures or whatever payment compensation plans there is. So that's really exciting. So you can do the starter bundle bonus. So now these wish lists that we're talking about, you wouldn't get the starter bundle bonus by just creating a kit for somebody. If they choose from the premium starter bundles, then you get the $25 bonus automatically. If you're just doing, a wish list that you've created, you don't get the $25 bonus, but you do get 50% of what they purchase. So, I mean, that's huge. Somebody spending $100, you're getting $50 right there. If it's a starter bundle, you're getting $75 because you're getting that $25 bonus. So while I love the idea of tailoring products for people when they get started, I also just love a good starter bundle because it's such a good payout, and it's oils, it's products that most of the time I'm putting in bundles. I just may not be suggesting all 10 or however many oils there are. Maybe I'm suggesting 4 in a diffuser. Well, look at what you're doing. If that ends up being like a better deal to just get the starter bundle, you might as well offer it. So I never recommend get this because you get paid better. But if it's going to be a better fit for the person, just know that it's an awesome payout for you as well. So when we post the replay of this, I have a fun life steps graphic that shows you actually, let me pull it up so I don't say the wrong thing. But if you order or if you enroll 1 with a starter bundle, you earn $75. If you enroll 2, you earn $150. It goes all the way down that if you enroll 10 in 1 month, you earn $750. I mean, that's life-changing money. So it's exciting. It's really exciting that to get paid like that. And even if you don't do the starter bundle, but you make a bundle for, you make somebody a tailored kit or bundle, to get 50% of that first month's PV is awesome. And so it's that first month's PV. So if they placed another order that month, you would get 50% again. And starting February 1st, they are allowing people to put a starter bundle on loyalty rewards. So while they're signing up, you can add it to loyalty rewards. And if they do another loyalty rewards order the next month, that's at least 50 PV, then they get a free diffuser. So there's just so many good reasons hey, just try this out. Try it out for 2 months. You're going to get a free diffuser after 2 months. And I think statistically they say if somebody, if they're on it for 3 months, it's 90% chance they'll stay on it. So the goal is to get people on loyalty rewards, right? And if we can do it through that starter bundle, it's an even sweeter deal for them and for you as well. Hold on. It's amazing, but my only complaint is that people can create an account and not spend anything. Yeah, so it does start when they create an account. So you got to be on that follow-up. How can I get them to, what's a call to action basically for them? It's kind of like what Gina was talking about with the link thing. We can be well, yeah, here, I really like thieves, but not send a link or whatever, because, we may be afraid or whatever, but there has to be something in the follow-up that is encouraging them. And maybe it's even something sweet that you're offering, right? Oh, hey, if you're, just this month, I'm sending this book out, something that ends at the end of the month, right? So that you're hopefully encouraging them to follow through and create that. Now, if they don't, obviously that's not our number one ideal situation, but you're still getting a customer or possibly a brand partner. So it's not all lost. Gina, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say is that if they do that and they accidentally and they don't order anything, just make sure they do it with, catch it, try to catch it, and then make sure they do it within that month. Because even if they don't do it when they're first on the computer, as long as it's within that month, then you'll still get it. And if there's some kind of a glitch, then we can work it out. We'll work it out with customer service and be no, they actually did it within the month of signing up or whatever. And then the other thing that I would say, right or wrong, if it's a situation like that, and I've had this situation happen before, and then it's like they started an account and then 3 months later they decide to finally order, then I just ask them if they have a different email. And I'm not saying that that's the number one best thing to do, but I just say, do you have a different email that you could sign up with? Because you already have an account in the system technically, because you went in there to sign up. And so it's complicating the situation. So if you, and most people do have more than one email, they're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll sign up with a different email. So that's what I do. And there is the situation in Young Living, if you have an account. So if you have an account with an email that's an active account, and then you try to make another one and they find out, then they'll deactivate the new one, but they're not going to do that if the first account was never activated, if that makes sense. So that's what I mean. And then sometimes you're just not going to catch it anyway. Sometimes they're going to, make an account and then they're not going to tell you. And 3 months later, they're going to go in and they're going to finally place that order. And then you just have to do your best to serve them. But that's just kind of how it is. But also when she was saying about 90% of people, if they're on loyalty rewards for 3 months, are going to stick with it. The flip side of that, which is like the Debbie Downer side of that, is like, there's also a statistic, and I can't remember, so I'm not going to try to throw it out there, but it's above 70%. If they don't sign up for loyalty rewards within the first couple of months, then there's a very high likelihood that they will not do it ever. So that's one of the reasons why we need to be talking to them in the beginning about that, for sure. Were you finished talking about those?
Yeah, I think so. So 50% commission in month 1 and then 25% in months 2 and 3. So definitely, even if you don't catch them in month 1, try to catch them in month 2 or 3. But again, like Gina said, just be logging in. Like I think Veronica said, it was an out of stock issue. I don't know if it's something that you can, if they're telling you what they're wanting, you can go in and create that wish list or whatever and see that it's out of stock. And maybe just say, hey, I noticed it's out of stock. Why don't I send you a link when it's back in stock? It's just that extra, like, unfortunately or not, steps that we kind of have to take. But it does help you build on that relationship too. And they probably will feel well if in 2 months you're like, hey, I remember you wanted this, lotion. It's back in stock. So that makes me feel like, oh, they care about me or they were thinking about me. So anyways, you're just going to have to probably take each situation and figure each situation out depending upon, the product and all that. So, but yeah, if there's any questions, I see Sandy, your comment, that might be something that you and I, or, Gina, you and I and Gina can chat about. There's always going to be people that spread fun stories about Young Living and anything really that people are doing. So, Gina, yeah, if you want to
Move on to commission, how you get paid.
Yeah.
I mean, and definitely I would like to talk to you, Sandy, about your concern that's a concern that a lot of us have. So, but I will say there are less people who feel that way than what it feels like at the time. And there are less people who are seeing any of that information. I mean, the people who sit on social media all day long and watch stories all day long, yeah, they are going to see that stuff, but chances are they're not going to be the kind of people who are going to, they might be the kind of people who are just looking for drama and, and who just want to be in the middle of all that, but they're not necessarily going to be the most fruitful business people anyway, if they're constantly looking to influencers or other people to make their decisions for them. So that's one thing that, I would say, but I'm happy to have that conversation with you because I know it's an issue. It can be an issue, especially in the last couple of years with a couple of the prominent people who've been talking a lot. But okay, so how do you get paid? One good thing about this new starter bonus, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my understanding, is that they removed the first month. they removed the necessity to even, I mean, obviously we need to be ordering every single month, but the first to get that 50%, you don't even have to make a purchase. Am I right about that? I'm pretty sure that I am. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I remember Ben saying that's not going, that we're removing that limitation so that like even, I don't know, what Veronica, do you know?
As long as you have 100 CV underneath you. So it doesn't include a brand partner though. So if you have customer volume, so it has to be just a regular customer of 100 PV, that which
So you
can
still
include,
have to have it.
you still have to have at least 100 CV, but
Okay.
not from a brand partner.
Right, but not from a brand partner. I just thought I could have sworn that part changed, like with the
No,
whole.
and that wouldn't, well, and so for a new member, that wouldn't, they'd have to have an order because they wouldn't have anybody under them. I don't remember hearing that part.
I
Well,
know,
if they
but that's
have,
why-
if they have a new, they would only get paid if they have a customer anyway. So say if a new brand partner enrolled someone with a starter kit, then their starter kit, then they would get paid without having
okay.
to pay themselves.
Okay, yeah. So that's where, I guess that's where it falls in. So technically you have to have 100 CV, which is 100 customer volume. If you are an associate through executive, you have to have only 100 CV, which can be it can be your order or it can be customers that are in your downline. It doesn't have to necessarily be your order. If you are doing it as a business, then you're probably going to be ordering at least 100 anyway, because you're learning about the products and you're wanting to have them on hand and you're wanting to build your testimonies. But if you don't, as long as you have 100 CV, then you can get paid. If you are a silver or above, you are required to also have 100 PV, which is like you have to order 100 yourself, and then whatever happens underneath you in order to get paid. The customer has to be on your first line to count as for has that changed? Because
No, it's a combination of volume from frontline customers and or brand partners' personal purchases. Frontline.
Right. Frontline. So that means first level. Yep. It has to be frontline. You're right about that, Sue. So you need to so in simple terms, you need to either order 100 PV or more on your personal order each month, or you need to have customers on your first level that have ordered a combination of 100 PV or more. So you could have 3 customers on your first level, and as long as that added up to 100 PV, you would still get paid. And then it says Young Living keeps it super easy in the virtual office, and will show you once you're commission qualified each month, like it will tell you whether you're qualified or not in the downline. It tells you whether your people are qualified or not. So that's one thing that's important too. Like if you're following closely your brand new business partners or brand partners, then you want to be able to follow and make sure that they are commission qualified. And if they're not, then you need to pop in and let them know, hey, you need to place an order, or say they had customers and they were making that 100 PV, but those customers flipped to brand partners, so that's no longer CV. You need to be able to tell them like, hey, this month you're going to need to do this so that you can get paid. We just need to kind of pay attention to that, especially when people are new. But we also need to train people to pay attention to it for themselves. Really, they need to be empowered to pay attention to it for themselves.
And I just want to add to really quickly, like if that is, we talk CV was a change that came in that I think really confused a lot of people. But if you are a brand partner selling this product, you should be ordering every month. Like we can't expect our team and our customers to be on loyalty rewards if we're not doing it ourselves. I get that there's months and there's times when things, happen and finances are tough or whatever. So when you are ordering this, it covers your CV requirement. Like you don't even have to think about it. And if you are confused, it does show you in your VO in the organization, it says commission qualified, yes or no. And if you're like, well, why isn't it qualified? Check out, what's happening with your customers on your level 1, or what's your PV. that month. So it needs to add up. Combination of them can add up to 100. Sorry, Veronica, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that I do believe though that it doesn't have to be on your first line, because if you have a brand partner on your first line, that wouldn't count. It has to be a regular customer. So it does roll down below that it would count. So I would want
The
clarification.
customer.
It has to be customer volume. So brand partner volume does not count. So that's why
Right. I meant
that it's not your first, it doesn't have to be your first line. I think that's,
They
I
have to
meant
be
brand
customers on your
partner.
first line though. They do. I mean, like, so you have your brand partners on your first line, but you always need to keep a couple. If you're in those beginning stages, after that, it doesn't matter. But if you're in the beginning stages of building your business, you need to have you either need to place that 100 PV order, or you have to have customers that are not brand partners on your first level. I had someone, I had someone.
well, that's like PGV. That's like down the road when you need like your 1,000. I thought, I don't know. Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
Wait,
No,
I think, wait.
CV is required. It is frontline customer volume. It's frontline customer volume.
Yeah,
Unless
wait.
they
and
change
I
that.
was,
That's
when
what
I was
this-
saying, when I was saying brand partner, I meant like you as a brand partner, not any brand partners underneath you. So I meant your personal PV. Sorry if that was confusing.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But I am confused about like that it has to be on your like level 1. Are you saying, is that what you mean by frontline, your level 1?
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's straight from Young Living. It says all USA brand partners have to have a monthly 100 CV requirement for ranking commission qualification. CV is a combination of volume from frontline sponsored. So, and then they have that in parentheses, like sponsored. That means you sponsored them and they're on your front line. Customers and or brand partner. Well, this says and or brand partner purchases.
Personal.
Change that.
That says personal purchases, not brand partner. So the thing about customers is they can only be on your level 1. So if you move a customer under like a brand partner that is under you, that brand partner then becomes their sponsor and it's on their level 1. Does that make sense? So I guess I don't know what would happen if that brand partner didn't qualify and like commission rolled up. I don't know if that would. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if that would then cover CV, but I do know it's on your level 1. Because anything below that would be on then that member's level 1 and would be contributing to their CV. Is that making sense, Veronica?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, not that I would ever not spend my 100 CV, but I know somebody, I know people that are just starting out, like if they were having their first month and they don't want, I mean, typically if someone is first starting out and they're not spending their money, then anybody that they're going to get paid on is on their first level. So this is probably, never going to be an issue. But I know that it can't be your brand partner below you that counts. That's all.
Right. And that actually happened to someone who was an executive. I think a couple of months ago, I had someone call me and she was just she needed the money. She really needed her pay. And as an executive, her pay, because her downline is so large, her pay is always between $500 and $1,000 a month, and she really needed it. And so she called me just in a panic and was like, I didn't get paid. Why didn't I get paid? And when we looked at it, and she's been a brand partner for like 5 years or something. I mean, it wasn't somebody that I was keeping track of or watching or whatever. So when I looked at it, that's what had happened, is that she didn't have any customers. She only had brand partners on her first level, and she didn't hit silver that month. She hit executive, and because executive requires that CV or whatever, and she spent like 50 or so. I don't even remember, but she didn't have it outside. I was like, everybody on your first level is a brand partner. You don't have any customers. And now that you're executive, like you have to have some customers out there. So, but we'll keep an eye on that too. And if things change, it can be confusing, but I think it's true what Emily said, so if the person underneath you, like if say you sign up a customer and you place them underneath someone else, if that person doesn't qualify, then I'm sure that they would automatically roll up and be on your first level. So I think it would be fine. This is kind of like why in the way it was before, it was a little bit easier. Maybe it's just because we were used to it, but just like, we're just like, just spend $100, like you just have to buy $100. Like, and so we still are like, just do it. Like I mean, I don't know how anybody, you know, who's making it a lifestyle can go under that, honestly. But, that's the safest way to do it, really, is to make sure that you're doing that. Let me see if there was something that I missed on. And then ongoing after the first stop, after the fast start period is over, you continue to make a percentage off of everybody that's under you, anywhere from 8 to 4%, as long as you're eligible. So that just depends on the level that they're on, and all that's in the VO. And a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to move. If I get 8% on this level, then I don't want to move them, you know, to a different level. But in the long run, you know, as you get into the business, you'll see why it's beneficial to move people, because there are other bonuses and things that come as you hit certain ranks. And unless you move people around, then you're not going to be able to hit those different ranks. So it's more beneficial for you to make sure that you're strategically putting people where they need to be, so that you can support them the best and so that you can hit your next rank. Okay, ways to share. Do you want to share? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. I mean, so we just thought it would be good to kind of chit chat about kind of what's been helping, or how we've been sharing, and also how we know some of our team members have been sharing that's been successful. But there's so many ways. And Abby, I see your comment that I'm struggling to afford to continue the monthly loyalty purchases. And so when people are struggling like that, I do suggest, I'm always like, can you get 2 people a month or 1 person a month to buy a starter kit? If you can get them to buy a starter kit, that's $75. You know, you can do your 50 PV or your 100 PV, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. But you have to be sharing in a way that encourages somebody to actually you know, take the leap. Basically, we can share all day long on Instagram or Facebook or however it is you share in stories, but if we're not actually like connecting and sharing in a way that like encourages them, like with a link, for instance, like if we're just like, oh, here's this oil, I love it, but we don't share the actual link, or, you know, we talk about it one time and then never again. It's so much like, you've got to tell people so many times over and over and over again. And eventually it's going to click and they're going to go, oh yeah, I do want that oil. And oh, good, there's a link. Like, don't ever share, like Gina said, without a link. And it's so easy now. If you're sharing like on Instagram, you can just put a link in your stories, link it directly to your wish list or your share link, and it's there. You can also create, while we're talking social media, you can also create like a bio site or whatever other, I forget what they're called, but it's a link like in your Instagram that then somebody clicks on it and then it pulls up. Like I have one and it says like if you go to my Instagram and click on it, you can see it says like, buy my favorite kids bundle, you know, here's my favorite 4 oils and diffusers. And it's just got different like links that people can click on. So directing people there, directing people to, you know, Young Living anytime you're sharing about it is great. So if you're going to share on Instagram or Facebook, just be consistent, and not so much in a way that it's like every single post is about Young Living. People want to know about you. They want to know about your life. They want to be able to relate to you in some way or another, especially in this day when like everybody is talking about oils. Why should they choose you to buy from? So it's just important to be talking about, you know, yourself, your family. How is somebody going to connect with you? Another thing that's been successful for me has been in-person events. And I just think after the last few years, when we started doing them again, like last year, people were just like, yes, we want to come. We want to be around people. We want to interact. I did find that it's hard for people to commit to saying yes to going, but when they come, they're always so glad that they came to the event, and then they come again to the next one and they invite a friend that time. So it's like, I think it's always a struggle on that first event, getting people to say yes and show up. But if you can have them show up and have a fun night of relationship building, they're most likely going to come again the next time and bring a friend. And that has been the case for me. So I started doing with Jamie, I started doing like a dine and DIY, and we literally just trade off houses, and we were doing it like monthly. We would skip a month or two here and do it again, but we would just trade off houses. And if I was hosting, I provided the dinner, and then she would provide the like oil supplies. And we were making like, I mean, easy stuff. Like at this point in the game, like we both have a lot of extra oils, you know, you get oils for free every month. Like, so we were basically kind of looking at our stash. What can we do? What can we use? That way we're not spending extra money on this event. So we would just do simple things like roller balls and bath salts with your favorite, you know, oil in it. I mean, just really easy things. We did we always did like a easy dinner option, like we would order a Chipotle or a pizza or something. So it was just the act of getting together, and it just was fun. And it made me miss, like, because that's how we used to do this in the beginning, like, and it just is good to be around people. So that has been successful. I know, Gina, I think you do events like that too, like at Well Okay, or you do in-person things. Another idea is like, if you are in a season where you have little kids, like have play dates or play groups, and have your diffuser going, or have the kids make Play-Doh and include oils in them. I mean, there's so many ways. And I think the biggest thing when we're sharing is to just think about like, how can I naturally share this? So just 2 days ago, I went to Target, and before I went in, I took a thieves roll on and I just rolled it all over my neck and on my wrists. And then I just walked into the grocery section and was like reaching over to get some carrots or something. And the produce lady was like, I smell cinnamon. I'm like, oh yeah, I just put an oil on. She's like, cinnamon is my absolute favorite. I would love to have a cinnamon perfume. And so I was like, oh, here. And I got my phone out. I was like, get your phone out. I've got a link that if you want it. And it's literally just Tammy from Target. I just sent her a link, and to the thieves roll on. So, I mean, it's just simple things like that. Like, now, is that going to happen every time you go out and have thieves on? No, but you never know when it can happen. So I think the most that I get asked about it is when I'm just using it, like at my kids' games or the kids' school or whatever, Target, whatever. So thinking your life, if you know, if you're a stay-at-home mom, or if you work, or if you're just in a different season of life, like how does it best fit in for you? If you've been sharing on Instagram for 5 years and it's not fruitful at all, think of something different. I mean, you can still share there, but maybe it's time to think of something that would be a better fit, right, for you and your season of life, for your personality, or whatever it is. Gina, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, same, all of that. And I actually made a video in Essential Families this week just about like the oils that I have on hand for that reason. And I mean, I have them on hand anyway, but then how it's grown my business. And so I think it's getting back to the basics. That's what we need to do. We're getting back to how we did it in the beginning, and it's working. And I think that, you know, we did it a certain way in the very beginning. It worked really, really well. And then social media took off. And so then everyone was like, well, this is easier. We'll just do it on social media, because then we don't even have to leave our house or whatever. But that wasn't all of our giftings. It's not my gifting. So like it wasn't successful for me necessarily. But what I will say is, you don't want anyone in your life to not know that you still are using oils. So I talk to so many people who are like, they tell me that someone called them and they're like, hey, do you happen to still, like, I don't know, are you still using oils? Like, I'm thinking about don't let that happen to you. If it's happened to you, that's fine. Don't let it happen anymore. And that's where I would say social media is not my forte. Like as far as selling on social media, that's not been my biggest success. But one thing about me sharing continuously, even every other week, just 1 or 2 posts or a story or whatever, people never have to ask me if I still do it. And so I do get a lot of calls from people who are like, you are still doing this. I know, like I've noticed for the past decade, you've been sharing about this and you're still sharing about it. So I trust you. Like whenever I was ready, like I haven't been ready. I've been a skeptic. Now that I'm ready, I know you know what you're talking about because you've been talking about it forever and you've never stopped. And I'm not one of those people that talks about it every day or every week even, but I don't go weeks without it. I don't go weeks without talking about it on social media. I think social media, it's kind of, most of us have a love-hate relationship with it, but I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary that we continue to put ourselves out there, and trust is built that way too. One of the biggest reasons people don't sign up with us is because they don't trust us. And that's a hard truth. That is a hard truth for a lot of us to swallow, and we don't want to hear that. But if we are, if we're not healthy, if we're not in shape, if we're not walking it out, if they don't see us living it, they're not going to trust us. And even when I went through like a really hard season in my life, like I went through a really hard season, many of you know, I went through a divorce, praise God. My husband and I are reconciling now. And so all of that's to come full circle, and it's amazing. But during that time period where we were going through trauma and relationship trauma, and I wasn't blasting it everywhere or anything, but I wasn't having people come to me. Like people aren't coming to you when you're in a time like that, or whenever you're MIA or they can't see what you're doing. Like they're not coming to you and asking for advice, or, like everyone just is kind of like, what is happening? I don't even know how to deal with this. So they're hiding from you. And that's an extreme example, but that's kind of the same way. If we don't put ourselves out there and people don't know what we're about, and we're really, really super private, that's fine. If you're a private person, there's nothing wrong with being private. But if you want to be in network marketing, like you have to network, which means you have to meet people and talk to people and be vulnerable and share about your life. And they have to feel some kind of connection to you. And once they feel that connection, then they will be like, okay, I feel connected to her in this area. So I know she's also kind of talks about these oils sometimes. I'm just going to ask her about that. So I think that's something that we miss a lot whenever we wonder why no one's signing up for us, is that trust factor, is like really getting real with yourself and asking why is no one signing up with me? Am I trustworthy? Am I being vulnerable enough? Am I sharing enough about my own life? Like what about my life is drawing people in? And if there's nothing, then there's some work that you need to do there in order to gain that trust from people. And building community is a big part of that. Being in person, like that's one of the biggest ways. It's hard to build trust online, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes we trust the wrong people online, but in person it's a lot easier because you can see, you can feel their energy, like whether you can trust someone. So I'm a big in-person person, and I have events pretty frequently, either at my house or at Well Okay, which is my my business that I have here. But yeah, I don't get it's funny in the beginning, Abby, like I remember I used to be really afraid of the negative comments about anything, because in the very, very beginning, when I first started, oils were not a mainstream thing. And so the biggest opposition that I would ever have would be from people thinking they were new age, like witchy type things. And I don't think anybody really, most people aren't like saying that anymore, but I don't get negative comments really about YL. What do you do, Emily?
Well, if it's like somebody I personally know, I'd probably reach out to them on the side. If it's just some random person on Instagram, I love to block and delete people on Instagram. So that's what I do. It's my Instagram. So I'm always like, You obviously don't want to be here. You don't like what I'm sharing. So, I mean, to an extent, if it's like super mean, then yes. If it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't love to engage people when they, especially the last like year with all of the drama that has gone on, which I will say 90% of your team don't know about the drama. Like it's the people who are online, the people in person that I am friends with in real life and that have bought oils from me have no clue about the drama. And so I don't feed into it. I don't click on the links. I don't read them. I'm just like, not doing it. So especially in this last year, I have gotten comments that are like, oh, well, what do you think about X, Y, and Z from somebody who's never commented on my Instagram before or never sent me a message before. And they're clearly just trying to like see how I'm going to respond. Right. And I just block them. I delete them. I feel like I have a good sense of like, you know, what is that like where you're only supposed to take criticism or whatever from people that know you and love you and care about you. And so just let it go. There's always going to be somebody out there that does not like what you're doing, no matter if it's in person or online, whatever it is. You just kind of have to learn to bless and release. Like, is that the term?
Right.
And don't
And-
let it bother you as much.
And I always think about it. I can relate it to my faith, to my family. You can relate it to anything, but I can relate it to my faith. Like people, whenever we were in ministry, people used to come at me with their hard questions about, you know, why would a loving God do this? Why, you know, all of these types of things. And so my faith is so rooted and grounded that I would just, you know, I would be able to have those conversations with compassion, but you can tell whether someone is really looking for answers. And with Young Living, my confidence, I think that's the thing. In the very, very beginning, when people were coming at me and I was just starting myself using oils, and I didn't really know if they were going to be work long term. I didn't really know. I mean, I was figuring out too. So it was a lot more, it was scarier then. I have so much confidence in these oils and products after being, I don't even know how many farms, I've lost track. I've been to at least 4 or 5 farms personally, talk to the people, you know, distilleries, like talk to the farmers, talk to the workers, like corporate, like I've been to these places, I've seen them. Not only that, even before that, it's changed my life so much. Like I had a lifetime of dealing with pharmaceuticals that did not work for me. And this did work for me. So whenever you have, it's kind of like, that's why I compare it to my faith. After having an experience with the living God, no one is going to shake that with me. No one's going to come at me and say something that's going to change my mind about the way I feel about God. And I do not think Young Living is God. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not, but I'm just saying that's how strongly I feel about this. Same thing with my family, like, or, you know, one of my children, like come to me and tell me, you know, something about one of my kids or try to, you know, challenge me about something. Then I'm like, I know my child. Like anyone in the world can say anything, but I know my child. And I feel the same way about these oils and products. So it doesn't really bother me, but I do know that, and I think that the less we engage with it, the better, because I've had people come and be like, what do you think about this? You know, like what you're saying. And then I'm like, I think it's not true. I don't believe it at all. And it doesn't impact me in anything that I'm doing or whatever. And then, you know, 3 or 4 months later, they'll come back and be, I'm ready to sign up or whatever, like, but it's the people that you like make a big deal about it with, and you try to, and, you know, I know people who will argue, you know, and die on the hill of, you know, they'll get in fights about it. And then you just lose relationships. You lose a future customer. Like you're not going to convince people. It was the same thing when we were in ministry. I'm not going to sit there and argue with someone about things, you know. You talk about where we are with compliance. I think it is still, I think it's still important that we be careful what we're saying on online, especially in print. I mean, I think if you make a video, it's a lot easier to delete it and for it to not show up in algorithms. It's your story. Every other company is saying whatever they want to say. I don't notice that, you know, they're being monitored really. So that makes it really hard. But I would say still be careful what you say. online. That's one of the reasons why we talk about doing things in person so much, or like one-on-one or on the phone or having phone calls or Zoom calls or whatever, because your stories, I mean, you're free to say whatever you want to say, but whenever still, you still kind of have to be careful.
This is why we love in-person events, because you can share whatever you want around your kitchen table or in your living room. So the more in-person, one-on-ones, things like that you can have and you can share, I think the better. I'm way more lenient in like, we have like a private Facebook group. I'm a little more lenient on what I share in there versus what I share on like our public pages. And I do know, I don't think Paris is on here, but my friend Paris, she just within the last year, maybe last 6 months, she got compliance like hit her. And it was like, she had to take down all these posts. So they're still out there and they're still looking. So definitely be careful. But again, don't mince words when you're face to face with people. Tell them the successes, especially if it's a great one. So we want to be respectful of people's time. If you need to go, totally get that. We had a few other things. I'm looking at this. Oh, don't forget, guys, the scheduled maintenance. I think that's important. That's coming up for a couple of days. The website will be down. So if you or your team members have loyalty rewards that process the 21st, the 22nd, I think maybe it's for 48 hours. So I think it's like late the 21st through the 23rd. So make sure you get on and fix that, and make sure you might want to get on and see if any of your team members have orders during that time period too, and connect with them and make sure it's all squared away, because you will not be able to get into the website. It's much needed changes. It's security. There's so much that they're adding and making better. It's been something that's needed to happen for years. And so they're finally doing it. So once we have that, we should not need any more big, I don't think anyways, big maintenance, things like that. So make sure you check in Essential Families. Gina shared about the last drop deals. So we're getting rid of Savvy, things like that. I think some products that are being discontinued, they will be on discount and you can stock up on those. But there's a post in Essential Families about that. So make sure to check that out. So if you guys have questions, we need an app. I agree, Dee Dee, maybe in the works. Don't know, maybe. I told them that when we were at convention this last summer, I was like, it is 2022. We need an app. We need an app that people can share directly from, that they can buy from. They very much agreed. So I don't think I think that may be in the works. So don't know for sure. But yeah, if you guys have questions, you definitely can message us or, just connect with Gina or I. But we are here if you need us. We are looking to do these more often. We would love to talk. We don't have the time tonight, but the Hawaii, the Kona challenge, we were thinking about maybe doing a meeting next week, just discussing that challenge, how to earn points, ways to share, all the things. So if we can get that set up, if we can find a night that we both can do that, we will do that. But yeah, I would love to chat. Would love to chat Kona too. I would love to hear who's going for it. And there's so much that you can win, not just a trip to Hawaii. There's just a list of things that you can win. So if you really look between now and June as just a time, like I'm diving in, I'm doing this, I'm trying